Hello and welcome to the podcast. I'd like to apologize before we begin because today's episode is an out and about episode. So, there's going to be noise coming in through the background. Now, what I want us to look at today is urgency and why that is important in the sales process. The reason why I want us to look at this today is because urgency is one thing that most people, even the most experienced business people in Nigeria, seem to forget when they're talking to our customers. So there are lots of people, when you're talking to a potential customer or potential client, people just go on gut feel and, they feel like, oh, this is a good deal, this is a bad deal, whatever, based on how you feel at the moment. It's more or less an emotional reaction or an emotional assessment. And so that is one of the problems that I'm trying to overcome when I'm working with salespeople, when I'm working with founders, when I'm working with CEOs, when I'm working with MDs, when I'm working with self-employed people, whatever it is that you call yourself. So one of the factors, one of the criteria that you can use to determine, do I have a deal on hand? Am I talking to someone who is interested? Is this a potential deal? All these sorts of things. One of the things that we can look at is urgency. Now, urgency just means a sense of priorities, a sense of timelines, a sense of deadlines, a sense of exigencies. It just means when you're talking to someone, are you able to figure out what their priorities are, what their timelines are, what their deadlines are, and the things that they are planning around? Because if you can get a sense of these things, then you're going to be able to figure out whether these people are likely to buy or likely to make a decision now, or likely to make a decision reasonably soon, or likely to make a decision discernibly soon. Discernibly soon just means, how will I put it now? Okay, we look at them because we know what their timelines are, or because we know what their deadlines are, or because we know what their priorities are. We can get a sense that sometime in the future they're going to make a decision. So back to my wedding photography example, because after my stint in the law and the civil service, that's where I went to next. So if, for instance, I was talking to a potential bride and she just got recently proposed to, but the families have not met, as in the boy has not gone to go and meet his uncles and they haven't gone to her house. In this case, we haven't gotten a sense of their immediate priorities. We haven't got a sense of their timelines. We haven't gotten a sense of their deadlines. So I can't see anything as a wedding photographer to be able to discern that whether next month, next year, I don't have a time frame. I can't discern when they're going to take action on anything because I haven't seen anything. So if I was talking to a bride, the bride has been proposed to, she said yes. The boy and the family have met, and the family is looking at wedding dates possibly between September to maybe December of 2026. So in this case, you can see that, okay, they're not going to make a decision now, and they're not going to make a decision reasonably soon, because we're still talking about events that are, 6, 8 months away. However, we can discern that something has happened, and so they might be taking action around XYZ time, because from the conversations I've been having with the bride, the families are talking and they're looking at anything between September and December. So this is what we mean when we talk about urgency. Are you having conversations with people to figure out what their priorities are, what their timelines are, what their deadlines are? And when we say exigencies, we just mean, things that might come up or might not come up. But we should be asking questions around that because we're trying to figure out what is likely to happen. When might that happen? What are the factors that might cause these things to happen? So these are the things that we need to be able to figure out that will be able to give us the true test of whether we're dealing with someone that is a potential deal, that is a potential customer, that is a potential client. Now, the reason why all of this talk is important, this whole thing of urgency, is because it is only when we have conversations with people and we figure out their urgency that we can have the right expectations when dealing with these people. So if you're a salesperson, you're a founder, you're a CEO, you're an MD, you're self-employed, you're whatever, and you're chasing up some people and you haven't been able to figure out their sense of urgency, you will always be in a hurry and you will always be trying to close on your own timeline But that is not how people buy. People don't buy on their own timelines. They don't buy on your own timelines. They buy on their own timelines. So yeah, you're, a CEO, you're a founder, you're, whatever, and you're looking at end of the month because you want your commission and stuff like that. But people's buying cycle has nothing to do with your own end of the month. Okay, you're trying to raise money so that you and the family can travel in December or something. But, people are not buying based on when it is that you want to travel. Or you have school fees to pay, so because of that school fees, you're trying to hustle up some quick sales. People are not going to buy according to when you want to pay school fees. People will buy according to their own timelines and not yours. So the best you can do is when you're having a conversation with a potential customer, with a potential client, be patient. Then be asking them questions. Try and figure out their sense of urgency. The one that doesn't have sense of urgency, step them down. The people that have a sense of urgency, bring them forward. Those are your chances where, those are the people where you get the chance to be able to close a deal. And soon. So be patient. If you don't have a sales process, start building it out. And as you build out the process, remember to include questions that will help you figure out what people's sense of urgency is. So, as a young wedding photographer, I learned very quickly that if you did not ask the babe, have the families met, you're causing serious heartache for yourself. So, have the families met? That was one question we would ask. Another question we would ask is, have you guys selected a date? Another question we would ask is, which wedding venue are you using? Because, of course, you can't answer the question, which wedding venue are you using, without even having a date. So these are ways that as a young wedding photographer, me and my colleagues would force the question around senses, the couple's sense of urgency. So for your industry, for your product, for your service, for your whatever, sit down and think. If you have a problem thinking, you can brainstorm by using ChatGPT, Google Gemini, whatever. All you have to do is just sit down, use Google Gemini, and then type in, I am a Nigerian, XYZ. I'm a Nigerian bricklayer. I'm a Nigerian stockbroker. I'm a Nigerian cardiologist. I'm a Nigerian fitness trainer, blah, 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 blah. I have a problem with trying to close deals when talking to potential customers. And I get posted a lot, and I have a trouble figuring out people's sense of urgency. And so I don't know the best prospects that I should try to close. Come up with good questions. Suggest good questions that I can use to be able to figure out who is most likely to buy now and their sense of urgency when talking to potential customers or clients. And then hit send. And you'll be surprised that some of the things that will come up might make sense. Some of them will not make sense. The ones that don't make sense, ignore. The ones that make sense, take it, apply it to your situation. Use it on a couple of potential customers. Use it on a couple of prospects. After a while, you're going to build up a bank of questions, maybe 4 or 5 questions that will be very helpful when you're talking to people to help you figure out urgency. And remember, if they don't have a sense of urgency, step that thing down. There's no chance this thing will close today. If you're able to discern any sense of urgency, good. Those are the people that you should pay attention to. Those are the people where you have your likelihood of closing a deal now or in 2 weeks or in 3 months or whatever. So yeah, that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about today. Thank you very much for listening to the show. Remember, if you'd love to connect with me, you can call me, send me a text message or a WhatsApp message on 080-6466-2140.